All right, let's talk about a no barking protocol for Biscuit. Because I know that was one of your biggest concerns with her, I just want to make a whole video talking about essentially stopping the barking inside the house. Now, the first thing, your absolute best friend to stop the barking behavior is going to be a kennel. This helps mitigate a lot of the side effects that go along with the barking, her trying to look out the windows and running up and down the hallways. If she can't also indulge in those behaviors, she's going to be less inclined to be barking at the things that she was in the past anyway. So essentially, the crate is going to be your easiest way to do essentially no training at all and just have her in the kennel and relax and rest at times when you can't have your eyes directly on her and you don't want her barking at stuff, okay? Now, say she is in the kennel and she is still barking at stuff. Here's where I would just go grab my e-collar. I would turn everything on, get it set up, and I would say start at like a 5 and see how that goes. If she starts to bark, I'm going to start with no, or truthfully, whatever word you would like to be charged from here on out that essentially just means stop barking. I like no because it's universal. I'm going to say no and tap once on my black. So if this is your e-collar remote, I'm going to tap once on the black S button at a 5. If the barking immediately stops and she settles, excellent. That's essentially what I'm looking for, is one tap, one no, and we're done. We don't have to address it again. Now, if she persists, if she continues, I'm just on the dial going to dial up slightly from 5 probably to like an 8 or a 10 and tap again. I'm going to say no and tap. All I'm doing in this moment is giving some more physical value behind my no command in relationship to the barking. She's barking, I'm saying no, the e-collar turns on. As soon as she relaxes, that pressure will turn off. So we're charging the no so that it means something later on or in the future when she's outside of this kennel, which is the next part we're going to talk about. All right, now this is like level 2 of my no barking game that we can play with the e-collar. And essentially it's just practicing the place command. You can do this anywhere you want in your house, but I am going to set her up in an area where I know she is inclined to bark. That's why she's right now just set up right in front of the front door where, you know, she's most likely to hear noises that pass by. During this time, you have her in a place command. She decides to bark. It's essentially the same thing we were doing a moment ago inside the kennel. You can say no and just tap on the e-collar. I'm waiting for her to return back to this down position in the place bed. I don't want her to be standing and barking on the bed, so now we can just be a little bit more strict with what we're asking. If I've asked you to be in place, so if I've asked you to go to your bed, that also means now I don't want you to be barking at stuff out the window. And this is now an easy way that we can start to set more clear standards for just what we allow and what we don't allow as we're just starting to give her more and more freedom. Now, on that note, she has a lot more freedom in this scenario than she did in the kennel setup, because now she essentially has the option to get up and leave anytime she wants, which is why I have her also on leash just in case if she ever messes up or goes somewhere that it's, you know, difficult to grab. I have that leash on and I can grab and guide her back to this bed. Now, while I'm doing that, I'm also tapping on the e-collar, essentially just reinforcing that, hey, I've told you to place. That e-collar pressure turns on. As soon as you get back to the bed, that pressure turns off. I want her to start to understand and associate that she's feeling that e-collar pressure to be told to go back to the bed, and at times to stop barking. It can kind of mean two things at once. But at times when she might get confused, that leash is going to be there to help you out. Now, the obvious next step beyond this is, instead of having her out and telling her to lay down in place, I'm instead now just going to have her free roaming. I might still have the leash attached, but I'm not going to be asking her to be in a command. But I will still have the e-collar on. And then same thing, if while she's free roaming around the house, she starts to bark, I will resume what I did all the way back in the kennel. I'll say no and tap on that black S button on the e-collar. I am just looking for her to settle on the first try. I don't want that to become an argument. I don't want her to go, you know, flying away from me inside the house. It should be at this point a very clear and understood, protocol that, hey, I'm tapping in relationship to the barking. So the reason for the progression of practicing it inside your crate, honestly, that's just the easiest way to do it. Chances are high she's gonna bark in your crate, so you can take that opportunity to say no in that moment if that's what we're looking for, and then reinforce it with the use of the e-collar. And then a step from there is to go here. We are now on a place bed. She is still actively in a command, but we're still asking that she doesn't bark at stuff. But the addition of having her on a place bed is kind of helpful to give her something to follow. And then the ultimate challenge, I guess, is to have her out of place and just free roaming the house. The caveat of still having her e-collar on at times when you want to hold her accountable is important. I will throw it on if I know she's going to be out for 2 hours at a time. I will leave that e-collar on just in case the opportunity arises where, look, she's barking at something right now. Perfect, I have the e-collar on and I'm set and I'm good to go, rather than being like, oh shoot, I wish I had put it on because this would have been the perfect time to use it. So I hope all that makes sense. E-collar, just reinforcing your no command, starting around the kennel, moving into place, and then moving into just free roaming around the house. But that's an easy way to stop barking altogether and just get her to realize, hey, we don't do that anymore.